Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady.
And I'm Aiden the Gardener.
And today we are getting ready to transplant some of the broccoli that was seeded about 6 weeks ago. It's never been inside, it's been out here on the brick west facing back patio its entire life. But Aiden, I wanted to tell you, I stopped at Lowe's because I was impressed last week by the quality of their broccolis and cauliflowers. I was really angry that they were selling tomatoes. So, yeah. And you know, those tomatoes all died when it got to 20 degrees Saturday night. Anyhow, I digress. They are selling a single broccoli plant for $5 a piece. Do you know how much broccoli you can actually buy at the grocery store for $5? It doesn't make sense to buy the plants pre-sprouted at that price. And actually, I saw at Tractor Supply, they were selling 4 packs of broccoli for $4.79 a 4-pack, which I was appalled by that price for 4 plants, $4.79. Lowe's is selling 1 plant for $5 a piece. So clearly the mass appeal of gardening because of COVID is a great thing for the industry, but the industry also needs to be aware of the fact that, like, when you're vegetable gardening, you can literally go to the grocery store to like cross compare your prices. So $5 a plant absolutely does not make sense, and I'm actually really offended by it. So I was super happy that I had my own broccoli plants, and that's really what today we want to show you how and where we're going to plant these. We're going to cover them with BT, of course, because you see the cabbage loopers floating around. They're out laying eggs. And then we're also going to show people how easy it is to grow it from seed. So if you haven't started any yet, you can. There is still time. Generally, my advice is best for zone 6 through 8, but I think even in zone 5, you can definitely get broccoli started. You might not be able to leave it outside for the whole duration of spring, but here we can. But then we have so many broccolis, because see, we have another tray over here, that we'll make another video to show you how to plant the tower garden, which is right here. This is an aeroponic system. And Aiden, ooh, look, the tree frog's still there. Let me turn the camera around so you can see it. Not only is the tower garden awesome for growing vegetables in, but it harbors a lot of like really endearing amphibians, specifically like tree frogs. This is just the sweetest thing ever. We'll have to make sure we leave, an empty basket for the tree frogs. But we're gonna fill this up with broccoli. So we found another tree frog. They're so cute. Gosh, I love them so much. So we've decided we're gonna plant the broccoli here in these 2 west-facing 100-gallon root pouch grow bags that are completely filled with soil cube. And we don't really need to add any more soil. You see, these are really nice and sturdy. I have a piece of cattle fence cut to size going around the edge. So you see how these are pretty tight, whereas this one is sagging a bit. That's because this one doesn't have the cattle fencing inside. And these got fairly damaged from the cold snap, both back in January and last weekend. So you can see I missed harvesting some broccoli here. That's already flowering. Tiny, but cold damaged here. So we're gonna take some time to clean these out. And over here as well, these are all cold damage. That's from last weekend. And then we'll get them replanted. We have 2 varieties, Green Magic right here, and Aiden has, what do you have? You have Marathon right here. So we have 8 plants of each, which is kind of the perfect amount for these 100-gallon root pouches. And what's in here, this is mostly onions. These are all onions. And over here, are these also onions? I guess I have a lot of onions planted in these pots. I guess the advantage of that is that they help deter the deer from eating the other things in the bags. Usually I plant onions in the ground simply because it helps deter voles. But even in these containers, it's definitely serving a function because the deer are eating absolutely everything this year. But see the Orbit yard enforcers in action over there. So far, I think it's working. So with heading vegetables, it's always recommended that you thin them to individual plants. And that's why when I sow the seed, I'm really careful, but often I get 2 seeds in the hole. So at this stage of planting, this is when you would want to divide them, and it's a really easy process. You'll also note these are growing in soil cube, the same media that they're getting planted into. And this is strategic because it allows the plants to not ever go through a transplant shock because the mediums are different. So I've been doing this for, gosh, at least 5 years now, and it's definitely, I think, one of the secrets behind their success. Now, holding this, I'm just gonna literally pull them apart and just kind of break the roots away. So now the root ball is in half, and I can plant 2 separate plants because these broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, all of these plants form a head, and they need more space than being crowded with multiple plants coming out of one hole. So it's easy enough to divide them at this stage, and they'll grow out really happily. Okay, so we have 2 more trays, and these are 4 packs, just recycled from buying plants in the past. And see, Aiden's just filling them up with soil cube. This came out of the 1 cubic foot bags, but you can do the same with the big yellow bags, the 1 cubic yard. So we're gonna do another 2 trays of broccoli, and that'll probably be the last of the broccoli for this spring season here in central North Carolina, zone 7. You can see these plugs are doing great, growing directly in soil cube, and they've been outside for the entire time. No indoor seed sowing in the Arthur Foodscape. It all gets done outside. And that can be done anywhere, but especially in warmer climates, it's much easier to start your seedlings outdoors than, reconfiguring your house to do it inside. Okay, so we have our trays. I'm gonna dibble in the middle. I'm using an absurd dibble. This is from a champagne or a sparkling wine place out in California. I'm just gonna make a small hole in the center of each cell. And then the critical component here is just being careful with your taps. Now I don't have a ton of seed. This is several years old, I'm trying to use up. So want to be careful. Ideally, I'll only do 1 per hole. Okay. Okay, so let's set them right here, kind of next to one another, and tap them in. That way the seeds get nice and settled. Well, you can see this is a special microclimate. It's really sunny, west facing, and gets lots of extra heat because of the bricks. It's also right next to a hose, and it'll be really easy to fertilize. And I fertilized the existing trays. These are the smallest from the first round of seeds that I sowed about 6 weeks ago. Everything has been fertilized using this Dr. Earth formulation of 1-2-1. And as soon as these new seedlings germinate, they'll all get drenched with that as well. Well, I hope this video will inspire you to sow your own seeds, grow out your own plants. Before the pandemic, I never really would have said that growing vegetables was necessarily less expensive than buying it from the store. There's a lot of expense in just getting a garden set up. But when I saw those plants being sold for $5 a piece, are they trying to discourage people from growing vegetables? Like, oh my God, that's crazy. So I do hope you'll consider just investing in some seed and growing them out yourself. It's not hard. My videos prove that to you. I haven't really done anything to these other than sow them, and one time I fertilized them, and I put them in an area where I'm already using a hose, so it's been easy to keep up with keeping them watered. And remember, it's still the middle of March. Actually, today is St. Patrick's Day. And it's too early to start your tomatoes and peppers and eggplants and summer plants here in Zone 7. We still have another few weeks before you should think about it. And the soil is absolutely too cold, both in ground and in containers. So don't get tempted by those summer plants. You don't need to start summer in March, okay? Lean into spring. Plant more broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage. Go to Lowe's, look at all those expensive plants, and then buy the seeds for them and do another round of these cool season vegetables so that you can make the most of the spring season. Well, if you found this video to be helpful, please give me a like, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to the Bree the Plant Lady YouTube channel. As always, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Happy gardening!